Good morning. It is 7:26 a.m. on Monday, July 19th, 2021. I'm Christiana Ellis, and I got up and then I felt like I needed a shower, and so I took one, and now this is 5 more minutes. Yeah, I don't know. Just it's been so rainy and humid outside here that I just sort of feel like, ugh, can't get rid of this sheen that's just on everything all the time. Uh, yeah, I don't know. It is. I've just. It's felt like a sweaty summer to me. Anyway, enough of my personal problems. Let's talk about Rocket's personable problems. Personable problems. That's not what I meant to say. He's fine, but it was one of those things where uh, I wish occasionally that it were more, you know. It, all right, here's what I was about to say. I was about to say I wish that dogs were able to speak more specifically so that they could explain the difference between I'm bored and I want to do something and I have an urgent need that you need to take care of right now, or else there's going to be a problem. Because but then the reason I kind of hesitated is that he did actually kind of literally do that, because or I guess maybe the problem was what I initially thought, which was the gentle woofs of trying to wake me up early, which he has been doing recently, for which is a little like I don't know why that started. Honestly, it might have kind of become a thing from earlier in the like when he was staying at the boarding. I don't know, but anyway, but he did that a couple of times this morning, and I told him too early and went back to sleep. But then at about 6 a.m., he wakes me up again, not too much earlier than my alarm was going to go off, but this time it's like, you know, yelping, like whining, and definitely a different tenor to it. And I'm like, okay, that seems a little different. So I took him out. He was definitely in a hurry to get outside, and then, apologies for content, but he took a gigantic messy poop outside. Thankfully, we made it. But it was just one of those things where it makes me retroactively say, okay, so have you been just holding it for 2 hours since the first time you woke me up? I mean, I guess if it felt as urgent at 4 a.m., you would have acted like that at 4 a.m., but did I make you have to wait until it was that urgent? Little dog. I don't know. I don't know why it was such a pressing matter this morning, because nothing else about his routine yesterday, as far as I can think of, was any different. But who knows? Dogs. Well, you know what? Not just dogs, but bodies in general. Right? Am I right? I am. I am right. I had a pretty good weekend, I think. Yesterday, I watched the Richard Donner Superman movie, because Mike and I are going to talk about Richard Donner movies on our next episode of Watching 100 Movies. We're going to talk about Superman and The Goonies and Lethal Weapon. But yesterday, I watched Superman, and I tell you, that movie obviously has a couple of bits where, like, the effects haven't aged super well, but I mean, honestly, it was made in 1977, 78. It's like, yeah, it holds up as well as many movies from that era do. But some of them still look goofy now. Some of them actually still just work. Like, honestly, the flying works. And that actually just reminds me of a little anecdote that when I was a kid, I thought I understood how they did that effect. And that what I thought happened was that they had him lay down on his stomach on an invisible table, one of those invisible tables they've got lying around. And then they rolled that in front of like a projected screen. And the thing is, Although I was certainly wrong about the details. That's not a terrible way to describe the actual sort of green screening process. Anyway, um, I, watching that movie and seeing that take on Superman just re highlights for me why my personal preference is that version of Superman compared to the more recent ones. Um, the Henry Cavill Snyder version in particular. Now, like, I feel, first of all, that there have been bits of that Superman performance that approached what I think of as Superman, but a lot of the more dark, broody bits just really don't. And I think that there's room for lots of different ways to tell stories about Superman, but for me, I think one of the things that makes Superman kind of amazing is that he's not all dark and broody, right? Like maybe he does actually have reasons that that he could be, but he isn't. Not that I'm thinking this is not a toxic positivity thing where like people should act like they're fine even if they aren't really inside. Like that's not what I mean. It's more a matter of like the heroism and grace of someone who is so powerful he could do whatever he wants. But what he decides he wants to do is not only help people when he can, but also to live as a person otherwise. Like the Clark Kent identity, it's so easy to say, like, well, but isn't all the time that he spends as Clark Kent theoretically like time that he's not spending saving someone? And you could say that, yeah, sure, but one of the things that Jor-El says about that in this version is that you should live as one of them so that you understand when your help will be needed, so that you understand how they think and how their world works, so that you know when to help and when they need to do it themselves. And to not set yourself apart. And I think that that's amazing. Anyway, I really like that movie. And we'll talk more about it when we do the Watching 100 Movies episode. But in the meantime, I will talk to you all tomorrow for 5 more minutes. All right, camera there.